Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are continuing our reading of a field guide to the wild life of North America. A field guide to the wildlife of North America. And we are going through this book from front to back, and we're going to read about every single animal in this book, okay? This is part 3 in the series. So, let's begin. We left off at the Bobcat, Lynx rufus, the Bobcat. The Bobcat is generally nocturnal and hides during daylight. It is an expert climber and tends to wait in ambush for suitable prey to pass rather than tracking it. Though it can kill deer, it usually concentrates on smaller mammals, especially rabbits and hares, and will kill birds and reptiles. If other food is scarce, it will eat carrion, often animals killed by human hunters or roadkill. In these circumstances, it occasionally hunts domesticated animals or poultry. Small animals are eaten immediately, but larger prey is hidden and revisited. Vocally, the bobcat sounds rather like a domestic cat, but it has a piercing scream, particularly yowling during the mating season in early spring. It is a solitary animal except that at that time. Young bobcats are born in litters of 2 or 3 and remain with their mother for a year, perfecting their hunting skills. They are spotted at birth. And you can see that their range is all throughout the United States and in Mexico. Okay. Next, it looks very similar to a bobcat, but this is the Canadian lynx, or just lynx. Lynx canadensis, or Felis lynx, or lynx. Apparently, it has 3 scientific names, but I think the agreed upon and common used one is Lynx canadensis, I believe. And you can see its range is all throughout Canada and up into Alaska as well. Look at that, it's so cute. The lynx is secretive, solitary, and primarily nocturnal. It spends the day resting under ledges or fallen trees, or up into the branches. It hunts during the night, either ambushing its prey, often from low branches, or stalking. The lynx's thick, silky fur and large fur-covered feet make it perfectly adapted to hunting in snow. The snowshoe hare forms a major part of its diet, such an important part, in fact, that the lynx population numbers mirror those of the snowshoe hare. When the hares are abundant, more lynx are born. It will also eat other small mammals, carrion, and deer weakened by bad conditions. A large kill may be hidden and revisited. Lynx only come together during the breeding season in very early spring. Cubs are born 9 to 10 weeks later, and there may be 1 to 6 in a litter. Young lynx stay with their mother for about a year. I believe when we covered the snowshoe hare in the previous video, they talked about the tenure cycle that is linked between the lynx and snowshoe hare, and they're still not 100% sure as to why that is, but given that I'm sure it has a lot to do with resource abundance or absence, and that's when you see those reflections in the population. You can also see that with large predators like wolf and moose. Speaking of which, look at that little snoop. The snoop. This is the gray wolf, or Canis lupus, and we can see all of its northern range. The gray wolf lives in a family pack exhibiting complex social organization with rigid hierarchies and a single dominant male. They can act more efficiently as a group, making it possible for them to attack large prey, such as the moose. A wolf pack ranges over large distances, but will not chase a particular animal for long unless it is showing signs of weakness. Prey is more usually ambushed and driven towards the rest of the pack. Large mammals form most of the diet, but the gray wolf also eats smaller ones and sometimes even berries, fish, and insects. Social bonds are reinforced by a variety of behaviors, including the use of scent and posture, but vocal communication is perhaps the most obvious. Howls are used to keep the pack together, and a wolf may answer a bark by howling. It pairs for life, and the 1 to 11 young born in a den in spring or early summer are cared for by the pack. They start to hunt when they are about 4 months old. Okay, next we have the coyote. The coyote. Coyote. Canis latrans. And it has a huge range. Very wide range. The coyote was once almost exclusive to the west, but its range has expanded due to the reduction in range of the gray wolf. And, okay, I just wanted to make sure that they didn't touch on it. So, I won't go too far into it, but the gray wolf used to have a much larger range, but like many other animals, especially apex predators, humans hunted them, trapped them, and kind of drove them out of their range because we use all of their habitat for cities, or in more modern cases, for rangeland, for cattle, or for farming, and we don't get along very well with them by choice, not because we can't. So by driving this larger predator away, which would be the gray wolf, that made room for a smaller or mesopredator, like the coyote, to move in and move farther out into all of these areas that are no longer ruled by wolves. So the coyote can adapt readily, which has aided this expansion, extending even into suburban areas. They sometimes form groups, but are normally found alone or in a pair. A coyote will scavenge and eats a variety of small animals, insects, fruits, and carrion. It is an efficient swimmer and will pursue its prey into water. Unlike the domestic dog or wolf, it runs with its tail down. Coyotes communicate using a variety of calls, and a long howl followed by barking is the most easily recognizable. Some pair for life. Mating takes place in late winter or early spring. Litter sizes vary considerably from 1 to 20 young, and they are born in a den, which may be an abandoned fox or badger burrow. So, very adaptable, often seen as pests, just because humans historically have not gotten along well with predators, or any nature, honestly. But it's not uncommon, as the book said, to find them in suburban areas. A lot of wildlife has actually adapted to using the suburban landscape, because what other choice have we given them? We just continue to spread out further and further and take away more natural areas from them. Ooh, this is one of my favorites. I have a tattoo of a red fox. A fox. Fox eyes. And fox ears. And the fox nose. And you can see its wide range. So, the red fox, or Vulpes vulpes, despite being widespread, relatively common, and often living close to humans, the red fox is a shy and wary animal and is not frequently seen. It is usually nocturnal, but also moves about at dusk and dawn. It is omnivorous. In winter, it tends to feed mostly on animals, but its year-round diet includes plenty of vegetation, grasses, and berries. It catches food for later use. Red foxes come together to mate, and many pair for life. The breeding season is when they are most vocal. A single litter of 1 to 10 young is born in a den, often a disused burrow of some other animal in spring or early summer. Initially, the cubs are fed on regurgitated food, but their mother soon brings them live prey and begins teaching them how to hunt and kill. They are quickly independent and disperse in the fall. I love foxes. They're so beautiful. And I've only seen, and just like they said, foxes are very elusive. I think I've only seen a red fox in the wild a small handful of times, maybe less than 5 times. And it's always been in sort of populated areas, interestingly, because like the coyote, they've adapted to our suburban habitats. Next, we have the kit fox, or swift fox, Vulpes velux. And you can see it has a much smaller range right there. The kit fox and the swift fox were thought to be separate species, but are now both classified under a single scientific name, Vulpes velux. The kit fox is mostly active at night, hunting small animals like squirrels, rabbits, and rats, though it will also eat insects such as crickets. Where available, the fruit of cacti are also form part of its diet, as do berries and grasses. Males and females come together in late spring for mating and generally pair for life. Between 3 to 5 young are born in a single litter. The birth often takes place in a disused marmot, prairie dog, or American badger burrow in the spring, and family groups stay together until the juveniles become independent. Population numbers have decreased because kit foxes have picked up poisoned bait laid down for other species, but they are beginning to recover. We're seeing a lot of commonalities amongst these animals, right? How they all are relatively, what's the word I'm looking for? How they are all relatively elusive, hunt at night, use disused burrows from other animals. So next we have the Arctic fox, Alopex lagopus, and it has an incredibly northern range way up here. Look at that tiny little face. Like the snowshoe hare, the Arctic fox's color changes mirror the seasons. In winter, the molt changes the fur from gray-brown to white, and there is also a rare blue-gray variant in areas without continuous snow cover where a white pelt would be obvious. Its foot pads become furrier to both protect the feet from cold and make it easier for it to travel on icy conditions. In summer, it eats small mammals and some berries. In winter, it sometimes tracks polar bears in search of carrion. It caches food either by digging through soil and storing it on the permafrost layer below, thereby freezing it, or hiding it in the rocks. It may travel some distance in search of food. Litter size varies. Generally, there are 6 to 12 young born in late spring or summer. Their parents care for them until later in the summer when the family separates. They have the same behavior that wolverines exhibit. They'll cache food as well, using the permafrost layer as a natural refrigerator. Okay, next we have the grizzly or brown bear. In my opinion, this is probably one of the scariest land animals in existence. They're just such a force of nature. They're massive. They're so powerful. And they're very beautiful. So, grizzly or brown bear, Ursus arctos. And you can see its range up here. Powerful, large, and often unpredictable, the grizzly bear is possibly the most dangerous bear in North America. I promise you I did not read that before I said that, my own opinion. It avoids human contact, except in areas where it has become accustomed to the presence of people, and can pose a threat if surprised or with young. It is usually more active at night. It can move at speed over short distances, and the cubs can climb. Omnivorous, it eats plant roots and shoots, fungi, leaves, fish, insects, mammals of all sizes, and carrion. It digs insects out of rotting wood, will claw small animals from their burrows, and is a skilled fisher. Salmon migrations can attract simultaneous attention from numbers of bears, and fights can break out among those normally solitary animals. It puts on fat reserves for winter and dens up in a cave or similar safe place. It can, however, be easily woken. It mates in summer, and the litter of 1 to 4 cubs is born in late winter or spring. At birth, the cubs are tiny, only about a pound in weight. Absolutely massive. Absolute unit. I haven't been reading these for each animal just because I didn't want to add too much time onto these videos, but just to give you an idea, for those who haven't actually seen, everyone knows what a brown bear is, but for those who haven't actually seen one in person, their length, including the tail of a fully grown adult, is 6 to 7 feet, and their weight is anywhere between 300 and 1,000 pounds. That is so big. And then, yep. And so next we have the black bear, which is significantly smaller. Incredibly small compared to grizzly bears. And they're much more timid in nature. Not that they aren't territorial, but less so than grizzly bears. For example, if you were to come across a grizzly bear in nature, you are in trouble, is all I have to say. I won't give you any survival tips because I am not an expert, but you are in trouble. If you come across a black bear in nature, you are more likely to scare it away. So, just behavioral differences. So, here's the range. Black bear, Ursus americanus. The black bear can be dangerous to people, becoming a problem in places where it has discovered the advantages of garbage dumps. And again, not saying that they're not dangerous, they're just more likely to be scared away than, say, a grizzly bear. But that certainly doesn't mean if you see one, you should go up and pet it. You should never do that with wildlife. Most of its diet is of vegetable origin: roots, buds, leaves, the inner bark of trees, berries, and nuts, though it will tear rotten wood apart to reach insects and has been known to demolish beehives searching for honey. It is an excellent fisher and also eats smaller mammals. During fall, it accumulates a layer of fat and holes up for the worst of the winter. Essentially a solitary animal, black bears only really come together for mating, though they may congregate around dumps at any time. Mating occurs during the summer, and a female only has a single cub in her first breeding year. After that, 2 are the norm. Black bear cubs are very small, weighing only 7 ounces, and they may nurse for up to a year, during which time the mother is not receptive to males. You can see, again, their range, and they're pretty much up north, but they have this very narrow, I don't know if you can see it, this very narrow sliver right here going down the eastern side of the U.S., and that's the Appalachian Trail. And here in Tennessee, you can go out to East Tennessee. A lot of people will vacation in Gatlinburg, for example, and it's very common to see black bears all throughout. Ooh, okay, so I actually want to make an addendum to my claim as the grizzly bear being one of the scariest. It still is one of the scariest, but I believe the polar bear is even more so. Although technically they are almost the same animal, so genetically speaking, they are almost the same animal. So not that big of a difference, I guess. And you can see the polar bear way up here is the range. And look at that, we've got 1, 2, and then we've got a third one hiding back here. 3. 1, 2, 3. Polar bear, Ursus maritimus. The polar bear can be active throughout the day and year, hunting for fish, seals, and young walrus. It also eats carrion birds, shellfish, and even mushrooms and algae. Though a powerful swimmer, it is not swift enough to catch seals in the water. It stalks or ambushes them on the ice or when they come up to their breathing holes. It has a sharp sense of smell and can locate prey by scent below ice or snowdrifts. During the worst of the winter, it may hole up in a den excavated in the snow. Pregnant females stay in the den for several months, during which time they will give birth. Cubs are usually born in alternate years. Other polar bears den up for a shorter length of time, though they may leave at any point. Cubs are born between November and January and stay with their mother for well over a year. Like all bears, it can be unpredictable. Got a couple of my favorites coming up. Next, we have the northern raccoon, Procyon lodor. And you can see its range is pretty much all throughout the U.S. Look at that. Look at that trash panda. Highly adaptable, the common raccoon lives in a wide variety of habitats and has no fear of humans. It can climb and swim well. It does not truly hibernate, though it may be inactive for periods of time and builds up fat reserves during the fall. Omnivorous, it will even open refrigerators and lift the lids from garbage cans. In rural habitats, it is commonly found close to water where it catches fish, insects, amphibians, and reptiles. Though it seems to wash this food, it actually breaks it up in the water. It mates in winter or early spring. There are 1 to 8 young in a litter, which is born in a den or safe place, such as a culvert. They are weaned by late summer. Some leave in fall, and others may stay with their mother until she drives them away before the birth of the next litter. Raccoons are very crafty. They are very, very smart. Okay, and next is one of my favorites, but it's one of my wife's absolute favorite animals. The northern river otter, Lutra canadensis. You can see its range. It's all throughout the north, and then it's also in the southeast of the United States. So, mainly nocturnal, the northern otter may sometimes be seen in daylight. Otters are sociable and noted for their evident enjoyment of play, sliding down slopes, chasing each other, rolling about. Even when alone, it seems an otter has fun, tumbling about or body surfing on fast-flowing water. Agile on land, it is superb in the water, a swift and powerful hunter of frequently large fish. It can stay underwater for several minutes at a time. Its diet mainly consists of fish, but it will also eat frogs, crayfish, and small animals. Aquatic prey is carried to the bank to be eaten. A permanent den may be excavated on a riverbank, and the otter mates in spring, just after the birth of a litter. Implantation is delayed, and the 1 to 6 young are born the next March or April. The juveniles disperse in the early spring. And you can see what's it eating. It's hard to tell. What are you eating? I think it's just a fish. Let's see. Now we're in the mustelids. There's quite a few mustelids here. So, how many have we done so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. We'll do one more for this video. And that's going to be the sea otter. So we have the river otter, and now we have the sea otter. It has a very, very sliver of a range across the west coast. The sea otter is highly aquatic, hardly ever coming ashore, though rarely going far out to sea. Its food, abalone, sea urchins, crabs, fish, mussels, is most abundant in coastal shallows. It feeds, sleeps, and gives birth at sea. Despite this, it is not an agile swimmer. That's counterintuitive. It is often seen floating on its back. It has no blubber and relies on the insulating qualities of its fur, so grooming is an important activity. Its fur, much like a lot of these aquatic or cold weather animals, is really, really dense, which allows that water to just kind of like roll off of it. The sea otter is among the very few animals to use tools. This is true. It picks up a stone when diving for food, then floats on its back, the stone on its chest, and cracks shells against it. And it even has a little pocket that it'll store its favorite stone in, so that it always has it to use. It is sociable and this extends to other species such as seals and sea lions. A single young is born in winter or spring. The pup is weaned at a year, but may stay with the mother even after the birth of the next pup. That's the sea otter. Okay, and I'll give you a quick sneak peek for next time. It's the mink. Because we're still in the mustelids, which is like weasel type animals. Okay, and we'll bookmark it so that next time we'll know where we left off. So, as always, thank you guys for watching, and let me know in the comments which animal from this video was your favorite. Feel free to share a fact about them that may not have come up in the book, and I'll see you guys next time, okay? Okay, bye. Bye. Okay, so as always, thank you guys for watching, and let me know in the comments which, right at the end,